London is becoming a hostile environment to white people as a result of Sadiq Khan deliberately ensuring that crime is out of control, deliberately ensuring that policing is not focused on the areas that are important. And unbelievably, and this is a statistic out this week, 40% of all mobile thefts in Europe were committed in London. That is a simply astonishing figure. And what it proves is that criminal gangs are now infiltrating the United Kingdom, infiltrating London, and Sadiq Khan's policies of completely ignoring these criminal gangs is at fault. Hello, everyone. This is Andre Walker. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please do subscribe, but more importantly, support the Patriot Fund. You can give a donation below. We support things like the Women's Safety Initiative and indeed trying to prevent people being sent to jail for making little jokes on Twitter. Amen to that one, brother. Okay, so this statistic that 40% of mobile phone thefts are now as a result of actions that are taken in London, I don't think is particularly surprising. I work with a guy called Mike Graham. As you know, he's the breakfast show host on Talk TV. Good bloke. He got his mobile phone stolen, and because it was an iPhone, he was able to track down where it had actually arrived, and it was taken to effectively a flat used as a distribution centre by criminal gangs who are now exporting them to Europe and indeed to the Far East. But the police said that they wouldn't do anything about it. Now, what Sadiq Khan has done during his term of office is specifically focused on not dealing with street crime. The reason is very simple, because stop and search is seen to unfairly target young black men. The reason is because black men are more likely to commit street crime, whereas actually white men are more likely to commit burglary. But by focusing on ensuring that those crimes go unpunished and uninvestigated, what you actually do is you empower criminal gangs from overseas, and you also make London a hostile environment for white people. There's a video on this channel that says that there are parts of London now that are only 15% British. And of course, the number of people that are nervous about the level of street crime is absolutely astonishing. Well, I've given you that 40% figure. Let's give you some more figures about how crime is going in London. Well, look, first of all, shoplifting and theft from a person, which includes these mobile phone thefts, is now up by 43 to 54%, which is unbelievable. Violent crime and sexual offences, 261,000 a year. And let's just remind ourselves, when it comes to violence and sexual offences, what Sadiq Khan did. Sadiq Khan said, when he was asked about grooming gangs, he said, what? He claimed he didn't know what grooming gangs were. And that is because the Metropolitan Police has no specific funding, no specific team to look at grooming gangs, unlike other places in the country. Is that because there are no grooming gangs in London? Is it because it's something that doesn't happen or maybe doesn't exist and it is all just a racist conspiracy theory? No. What has happened in London is there has been a case in Stratford that Sadiq Khan has overlooked, and we now know that the Metropolitan Police are deliberately ignoring this sort of crime. You know something? If I ever get any political power again, I'm going to legalise pepper sprays. And I'll tell you the reason why. I was talking to a friend of mine last night who's seen all of the videos of all of the street crime in London. The police have given up. Sadiq Khan is now trying to prevent you from being able to go into London as an ordinary tax-paying person, and he wants to clear the way for all of the new residents that he wants to bring in from overseas. Why shouldn't we have the right to defend ourselves? When did we give up that right to protect ourselves? Yes, we created the police force in the United Kingdom. Yes, we said that that we should have the right to, as I knock the table. Yes, we said that we should have the right to have police and to have our communities protected. But we also said that when police don't step in to protect us, we ought to have the right to protect ourselves. And I genuinely believe that pepper sprays should be brought back. Yes, it hurts you for about half an hour, but it means that when these bike gangs start to steal phones from people, they can pepper spray them, and then that would be something that I think would be absolutely vital to protecting our communities. Because the reality is, we now have people in our country who are here specifically to destroy it, to damage it, to denigrate it, and indeed to commit crime. And those professional gangs are now operating internationally. It's partly because of uncontrolled immigration, but it's also because of Sadiq Khan's behaviour, the way that he is so determined to ensure that that crime is out of control in London. 40%. That's not just one or two people selling the phones to their mates. That is something that is much more organized and much more dangerous. And I think it's something that we should take a significant amount of notice of. But let's go back to some of these more statistics, some more of these statistics, which I think is unbelievable. In Westminster alone, 41,000 crimes were committed last year. And then you say to yourself, but the total reported offences, this is the key figure. The total reported offences across London last year was up in 1 year from 938,000 to 1.15 million. And I'll tell you who is the biggest victims of this. Actually, we talk about white British people all the time. What about black British people? And the fact that knife crime is completely out of control and Sadiq Khan is absolutely determined to do precisely nothing about it. The number of young black teenagers rubbed out by this behaviour is just unprecedented. And I think we do need to do something about that as well. So we have to say to ourselves that, okay, you can say stop and search is something that upsets young black people, and I do accept that. But what is the result of not doing it? If you look at the case of Manchester's Oxford Road, it was the place that had the largest number of muggings in Europe, about 15 or 20, might be 30 years ago now. And the Greater Manchester Police did a deal with Manchester University where they said that for a few weeks they would stop and search lots of people walking down Oxford Road from the centre of Manchester to Rusholme. Many of you will know the Curry Mile. And of course, the police thought that the students at Manchester University would be extremely offended by this. In fact, they weren't. It was overwhelmingly popular. 3/4 of people at Manchester University who'd been stopped strongly supported the policy. And that was the people who'd been actually stopped. And the reason is because, yes, it's irritating to be frisked by a police officer for 5 minutes or 3 minutes or however long it takes. But what is worse is when you are unable to walk down your streets safely. And that is the environment that we've created. And let me just say one final thing before we go. Have you seen the footage from Notting Hill where the streets are boarded up, this wonderful display of diversity? Well, I will tell you, what they're actually doing, a lot of them, is diversifying the ownership of this property. Previously, it was owned by one person, and then it will be diversified and owned by lots of people after they've raided the place. If the Notting Hill Carnival was anything else, it would not be allowed to go ahead. It would be moved into something like Hyde Park, which I think would be absolutely marvellous to do. But when you're talking about saying this peaceful festival and you're having to board up the windows of people's homes on the routes, that is telling you that things have got badly out of control. And that is the story overall of policing. If you make a rude comment on Twitter, you are in real trouble. If you commit street crime, you're unlikely to get into any trouble at all. And if you're a member of a grooming gang in London, then the Mayor of London pretends he doesn't even know that you exist. And that is a shameful dereliction of duty, but it is a deliberate dereliction of duty by a man who hates you and who wants to see this country taken over by whatever it is, whatever crazed mad cause from the Middle East he's into this week. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please do be careful if you go to London. We'll talk a little bit about that pepper spray campaign, and I might even put a bit of money from the Patriot Fund into it. If you donate below, what we do is if you make a donation on PayPal, loads of you know this already, by the way, if you make a donation on PayPal, then we add you to the mailing list and give you the monthly updates, and then you can donate after that or not, depending on what you want to do. Until next time, goodbye.